Today we're going to be working with the triangle angle sum theorem and the exterior angle sum theorem. For the triangle angle sum theorem, the sum of the measures of each angle of a triangle is 180 degrees. So an example of that would be if we have our triangle ABC, angle A plus angle B plus angle C will equal 180 degrees. So let's look at an example problem. If we're looking at example 1, we need to find the measure of each of these numbered angles. To start off with angle 1, notice we have a right angle, so angle 1 has to equal 90 degrees. Based on that, we know that 2 and 3 also have to be 90 degrees because they're supplementary to angle 1. So 90 plus 90 is 180. So all three of these angles have to be 90 degrees. So angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3 are 90 degrees. Next, if we look over here for angle 4, angle 4 is a vertical angle to 130 degrees. Vertical angles mean they are congruent, so they're equal. So angle 4 also equals 130 degrees. Let's skip down to angle 8. Angle 8 is vertical to angle 40 degrees. So since they're vertical, that means they're congruent, they're equal. So angle 8 is equal to 40 degrees. Looking inside of our triangle, we have two angles already given, 90 degrees and 40 degrees. So that tells us with the triangle angle sum theorem that all three angles added together, so 90 plus 40 plus we don't know 1, it's going to equal 180. 90 plus 40 is 130 degrees. So we subtract 130 to both sides. So x equals 50 degrees. So our third angle of our triangle is 50 degrees. So angle 6 equals 50 degrees. Last but not least, angle 7 and angle 9. Those are vertical angles. So that means they're going to be equal to each other. These need to be supplementary angles. So if this is 40, to get both of these to add to be 180, angle 9 needs to be 140 degrees, and so does angle 7. Alright, let's take a look at different ways we can classify triangles. We can classify them by their angles as well as their sides. Looking at their angles, we can have equiangular. And equiangular means that all angles are congruent. And remember, congruent means that they're equal to each other. So all angles equal the same thing. We could have acute triangle, meaning that all angles are acute, which also means that they're less than 90 degrees. We can have a right triangle, which means we have one angle that's 90 degrees. And last but not least, we can have an obtuse, which means one angle is obtuse. And remember, that's when it's greater than 90 degrees, but it's also less than 180 degrees. So it's somewhere between 90 and 180. Alright, not only can we classify triangles by our angles, but we can also do it by the sides. And there's three different types. We can have equilateral, which means that all sides are congruent, so all sides are equal to each other. We can have an isosceles triangle, which means that two sides are congruent, so two sides are equal to each other. And we can also have a scalene triangle, and that's where all sides are not congruent, so none of the sides are the same. So if we take a look at example 2, we need to classify these three. If we have a triangle where sides are 8, 4, and 5, so we're looking at the sides, so that means we're looking at over on this side. None of the sides are the same, so that means it's going to be scalene because we don't have one that's equal to each other. For B, we're also still looking at the sides. We're looking at these three options. But now we have two of the same sides, so that means we're looking at an isosceles triangle. And the third example, we're now looking at angles. So we're coming over here to these four options. We have one angle that's obtuse, the other two are acute. And we said that over here, if we have one angle that's obtuse, it's going to be an obtuse triangle. Last example for today. Let's look at how we can draw examples of these three triangles. Acute triangle means that, remember, all sides are going to be less than 90 degrees, and scalene means no sides are going to be equal to each other. So that means we have a triangle where all three sides are different lengths, and all of these sides are going to be less than 90 degrees. So all angles are less than 90 degrees. An isosceles right triangle means we have a 90-degree angle. Isosceles states we have two sides that are equal to each other. So these two sides would be equal. This is our 90-degree angle. And lastly, obtuse. Remember, obtuse means one angle is greater than 90. So one angle is greater than 90 degrees. Equilateral means all three sides are the same length. So 1, 2, 3. They're all the same length, and this right here is our obtuse angle.